Hello, everybody. I am Lisa Shield, and today we have two of my most special guests ever. Debbie and Mark, Debbie Flanagan. And Mark, I don't know your last name.
It's pronounced Hagen, kind of like the ice
Hagen,
cream.
like
Hagen.
Haagen-Dazs.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, it is a pleasure to have you both here. I feel so fortunate to be able to share you both with my audience. And you two have such an absolutely extraordinary love story. So, thank you both for taking your Friday evening out to be here and to share your love and your story and inspire other women. It is so important for other women to be able to see love like yours. And what we want to do, I want to start with talking about you, Debbie. And our auspicious meeting. How did you find me?
So, a girlfriend of mine who knows me very well knew that I was bound and determined not to be single. So, she saw your ad and said, "You know what? This might be something you would be interested in. Why don't you give it a look see?" And lo and behold, when I read your story and your profile and everything that you had to give, I said, "Sure, let me get on a call with Lisa." So I did.
And tell me what, that those breakthrough calls are kind of intense.
Hmm.
When somebody, you watch my free 45-minute presentation, right? What
Correct.
was it? What was it about my presentation that made you say, I really think this might be a good fit? What did you pick
Well,
up on?
yeah, everything that you spoke about spoke to me that I knew that I was dating probably the wrong men or that I was attracting the wrong men. And I hadn't had a lot of dating experience prior to my teens. I was married for 19 years and got divorced and then went through kind of a sad journey, as you know, having lost a child. And so yeah, dating wasn't on the forefront until I could recover from the grief. And so I thought that I was ready to put myself out there because I had worked through all of that. And I'm a happy person. And I was able to get my joy back and said, okay, now I have something to offer somebody. But boy, was I wrong.
Well, we opened up your eyes, right? It
Yeah,
was
you
pretty
did.
eye-opening. So just to give a little background, you've been married before. I know people would
Correct.
be interested
Yes.
to know
Yeah.
that. And
19 years. Yes. I have a
mhm.
daughter now. She's married also. She's 31, happily married. And the funny part of is this story is I think her picker was way better than mine. She got the guardian of her soul immediately out of the gate, right out of college. So
Aw,
she did really well. Yes. In
yeah.
fact,
So
my
you
son-in-law has a lot of similar characteristics to Mark.
does he really?
He
That's
does. He
really
really does.
sweet.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And so you were amazing. I just loved having you in the program. You
Thanks.
showed up like 1,000%. It was amazing watching you go through the course. And um, let's talk a little bit about what that experience was like for you and how it made it, what was it? Because I think you would agree that you would not be in the relationship you're in right now if you
Absolutely
hadn't
not.
done my program.
No, I'll tell that to everybody out there. This would not have been, no, this beautiful had I not done my own work. And like I said, I had done some grief work, but I never really did divorce work and recovery from that. So I had some sharp edges. You know that you've seen my transformation since we first started together. And yeah, I was kind of dating and leaving men and vice versa, and it just nothing was really working. And I could tell that the common denominator was Debbie. And when I decide to do something, I give it 100%. I don't just do half things halfway. That's not my nature. So
No.
once I was in the course, I was in the course.
But
Yeah,
Debbie,
once.
let's talk a little bit about what dating was like for you before the course. And let's talk about what it was like once you started to learn how to do this consciously, right? How you really
Correct.
started to have a much more conscious approach to dating, and how it was, what, let's compare and contrast for a minute.
Sure. So, my background is I was a businesswoman. I was in the marketing world. And so I thought I had it all together. and I did in my job situation. My career was fine and on board. Like most of your clients, we can't figure out what the heck, we're smart, intelligent, educated women, and what is going on here. And so like everybody else, I got online. I did the online dating thing and was, in and out of that and extremely disappointed. And sometimes it was fun, sometimes it was work, and it was starting to get really, ugh, I can't do this anymore because I just wasn't attracting the men that I wanted to
So talk
be
about
with.
that, Debbie, because
Yeah,
let's think about our audience and who's
sure.
listening, right? Like the
Yeah.
women, there are so many gorgeous, successful women like you, and they're just going nowhere in their dating.
Yeah, I think that I was being superficial at first. You swipe left on the guys that don't look so great and you swipe right on the guys that appeal to you. I mean, it's just human nature to have a little bit of an attraction. But I didn't know the ins and outs of profiles and how some gentlemen show up with old pictures, and it's like, and then you meet them in person and go, whoa, not a lot of honesty out there. There is some deception. So, you get very jaded very quickly. There's a
Mhm.
lot of imposters. And I didn't know any of these titles, but for your course, because
Mhm.
I was taking people for face value and men for face value and finding out that it was quite disappointing sometimes.
And how long were you out there dating? Like,
Oh my
at
gosh, years.
5 years, 10 years?
At least 3 or 4, if not
Uh-huh.
more. Yeah, off
Yeah.
and on. You date, and then you go, "I give up," and then you don't date. So, when I met you and was at my wit's end, I had, broken up with somebody that just, was like, "Oh, what was I thinking?" And I ended things badly, and I felt bad about myself because I think a lot of my dating thing was, okay, this is going to be the one and this is going to be the one, and you can't do that. You
No,
just can't. Yeah, you put all
no.
your eggs in that basket, and it's very disappointing, and it's also very intimidating, I think, for the men. I mean, Mark will be able to tell you.
Yeah.
He's also done some dating,
We're
and
going to
from
get his
his
side of the story in a minute, because I also
yes.
want women to know, you know, I know you two have such a unique relationship. I had the unbelievable pleasure of having these two beautiful people come out to Santa Fe to our home and stay with us for 2 days. And I got to see this up close and personal. So I know it's the real deal.
Oh, it's authentic.
You
Yeah.
can't fake with me. You couldn't fake it with me. And, I know that you two are guardians of each other's souls. We're going to get into Mark in just a second. But I really want to know, Debbie, what would you tell women who are going through what you were going through, out there alone, ready to give up? I mean, I know it's just disheartening to be a successful, beautiful woman who takes care of herself. I mean, you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Every part of you was cared for, except you still weren't meeting the right men.
No, and I may have met the right men and let them go because I wasn't ready either. I had to dig deep and go internal and figure out, what was Debbie doing wrong? Because, like I
Mhm.
said, the light bulb went off. It's like, okay, you've met some men. Some were kind of quality guys. I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't out there with just anybody, but I think that I wasn't showing up the right way either. There was a lot of things that I had to get to the heart of, the painfulness of my divorce I hadn't really dealt with. There was that inner, jadedness about men in general because of, I had infidelity in the marriage. There was infidelity in our marriage. And so you carry that around and you say you're okay, but
Yeah.
not so much. You can't really fake that. You can to a point, and then you really have to, give it up. And I
But
think
when
that
it
was
starts
a
to
big.
get, yeah, when it gets intimate and you really do, somebody wants to start to get close, that, and especially when it's a really good man, that's
Yeah,
where the fear comes up, right? That's where you
correct.
often push the good guys away and
Right.
subconsciously jump in with the wrong guys because I think somewhere in the back of our minds, we know it's not going to really work, or you're so busy, like, chasing and running and doing the in and out and the, talking ad nauseum and trying to work it
Mhm.
out, right? And you're
Yes.
so caught up in that there's no real intimacy. You
No,
don't have, you never
the
get emotionally naked with that
you
person.
think you are, but you're
Right.
not. I mean, I had walls up for sure, and
Yeah.
I really didn't learn to how to break all those walls down until I really did dig deep with you on our first 45 minutes. I think I let a lot loose, and you saw that. There was a lot of
Mhm.
pain and hurt in there that I had been, stuffing down and not really dealing with. So, you got to deal with that, and then you have to deal with your self-esteem and know that you are worth it. Because I think a lot of the rejection wasn't just by the men, it was by me as well. I don't think I was ready. I don't think I was really emotionally ready to connect with
Wow.
anybody until your program. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it
But I
really
didn't
was.
know it.
And Debbie, you'd never had true love, right? You'd never, like, you had men that you may have loved or thought you loved in the beginning, but prior to Mark, and I mean, this is a whole other universe, right?
It's so funny how this journey came this way. I mean, I think that my ex-husband, I mean, we were married 19 years. He did love me, but not the way that I needed to be loved.
Mhm.
And it just went on that way. And he was a good dad, but kind of a narcissist in ways. And no matter how much I begged for attention, the less I got. It just wasn't. Towards the end of the marriage, it was not good.
Aw, well,
It
so
was not good.
you found me and you excuse me, you
Problem.
decided, what did I say to you on that call that made you, because this is a substantial investment. Let's put that
Oh,
out there.
yes, yes, yes.
Working with qualified life, great love coaches, and especially somebody like me who's been at this for 20 years now, there's a big investment of time and money, and this is a
Mhm.
serious decision. And what was it that made, what did I say that clicked with you and made you go, I'm doing this?
Well, I knew you were the real deal. There was no doubt in my mind after our 45-minute conversation. I have a decent read on people, but your genuine nature and your passion for what you do shone through. The money wasn't even an issue for me because I've invested in myself with exercise coaches and yoga teachers. It's like, why
Mhm.
not a dating teacher? I don't know what I'm doing. Give it up. You just have to, figure
Yeah.
out. And yeah, there's other people out there, but it was our 45-minute conversation. Lisa, you were able to just dig right into my soul and pinpoint exactly what it was I was doing wrong from the get-go. And it's like, this woman's
Oh,
talented. She's got me. She understands this, and I'm going to go for it. And that course was amazing. I put dating on hold. Like I said, I dove in 100% and learned so much about men because that was really where I was lacking. And I did not see a man's perspective. I didn't give
yeah.
myself that opportunity. So
Yes.
that was very eye opening. Everything that was offered was just, I
Yeah.
just, yeah, drank it all in. It was good.
So, just quickly, you didn't date for the first month. Right?
No,
There was
no,
no dating. Men are kind
no.
of a vortex, and so
Hmm.
we hit the pause button. Mark, you're a vortex, and we just, we really worked on you in that first month, and it is probably, I would imagine for somebody going through that course, I have woven in so much psychology, spirituality, and just real practical common sense. And in that first month, we dive so deep.
Hmm.
It's pretty profound, I think, for a woman going through that first month.
Yes.
It's an awakening in
Yeah,
this
I
part of
love
life.
step-by-step learning. We need
Mhm,
those tools. And so, your guided program just got me through. And I didn't just do it once. I repeated that program on
wow.
my own because I went back out to date and it's like, maybe I didn't get it. I have to try again and
Mhm,
figure this out. And I love the fact that you have the group, the grad group that, you can bounce things off other women because they
mhm.
took away things that I didn't, and then sharing other perspectives was so nurturing. And it's like, okay, I'm not the only one that's, making these crazy mistakes even after the program. It's not
Mhm.
one and done. You have to, give yourself a chance. But I
Yeah.
think the biggest gift I took out of that was just be yourself, let it go, be vulnerable, and find a way to communicate better on a level that a man can understand, because men do communicate differently. We've had so many conversations about this.
And we're going to
Yes,
get to Mark because he's a fountain of wisdom.
he
And
really is.
yeah, he really is. What I want to know is what was different, like after that first month of just doing the relationship inventory, the final five, reading the books. What was different, Debbie, about, getting your profile from Benjamin?
That was amazing. I mean, that's what attracted him. He already told me that. And I think it also weeded out a lot of men that weren't ready to show up for me. I mean, when you have a profile like that, um, it's just easier to be more selective. Is that a good term? I'm trying. Yeah, and not settle. There was just so much that I was able to put out about myself, authentically and beautifully. And yeah, it spoke to a lot of different men, but especially spoke to him,
But
which
you
is this
got
is
you got a
yes,
different response, a
I
different
did.
kind of response from a different kind of man
Yes.
based on the photographs. Did you have professional photos done?
I did not. I had
You
a
didn't.
girlfriend take pictures of me, by your suggestions with the laughing
Mhm,
and smiling and activities. And
mhm.
yeah, it was
Well, you're
easy.
so pretty and photogenic, and
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'm sure it didn't, but we really are. Even now, we're being, very, very careful with the photos and all of that because it's all so important. I have women. I look at their pictures and I just think, oh my goodness, you're so
Yeah.
beautiful, and your photos are so inadequate. And I had one woman who was gorgeous who I just enrolled, and she said, oh, well, I wanted to show up and be prettier in person than my photos. And I said, guys are going to go skip right by your photos. That,
Yeah.
what are you doing? It's like,
No, that doesn't work.
no,
Yeah,
no.
but
But
it was good.
we
It was
got your
very much, yeah.
we got your final five. You knew what to look for in a partner.
That
That
was huge. The final 5 is what kept me from wasting time. Look, I'm not a spring chicken. I didn't have a lot of time to waste, and I knew that I didn't wanna be single the rest of my born days, so I had to just, if somebody had my 5 must want did not have my 5 must-haves, then it's non-negotiable. I mean, you have to, like I said, do the work, know yourself, and stay true to that.
Mhm.
Because
And not
and
have sex, not jump into anything with anyone. That's a big
No,
piece of this,
that's huge. Yeah, use your
right?
head before you use your
Use your
bed.
bed.
Yes. Yes,
You
yes.
you were a good student.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was just an amazing program. Loved it.
Aw. So
Loved
Debbie, it
everything
was
about it.
yeah, thank you. And so you how long did it take you? You had, COVID hit. You hadn't met someone, COVID hit.
Right, so I
Talk
did the
about
program in two thousand
yeah.
nineteen, and then I was
Mhm.
all excited. You get out there, you start dating, and then the world shut down. It's like, oh, perfect. So now you're home and you're trying to Skype people online, which, okay, well, see you in 2021. That doesn't last long. It was very difficult to do that. But the funny part of it was when I did get back out there in the real world, and the COVID thing finally opened up the gates and you could see people in person. I didn't meet this guy until I left the state that I live in to travel for 3 months. And he's back in the state that I live in. So, and we met online. So just, go
But
figure.
let's make that a little clearer. You went to Florida because you were
Yeah.
checking out Florida. Can you, Mark,
Right.
you want to tell the story? You want to jump
Sure.
in here?
Sure, absolutely. I won't mention the particular app or anything along those lines. There's plenty that are out there and such of the nature. I just chose one that was innocuous and everything along those lines. And to me, I'm not a spring chicken either, but I also knew that I had certain things that I wanted in a woman, and I figured this would be a reasonable site too. And I had gone on some dates, and nice women and such of this nature, but sometimes there's not a connection, and that's perfectly okay. You can have wonderful conversation and companionship for an evening, even if it's that, type of thing. And I just enjoy company regardless. So that wasn't an issue, but I'll admit it was disheartening. I had had been divorced and such as nature, and I wish there was at least a Shields for men, but I did my own therapy and such as nature, and a professional, and discovered that the same issues that, slightly different, that Debbie had to go through, I had to go through, really discover myself, understand that there's a difference between being a nice guy and a kind guy. And too often not nice guys, they are built into represent the expectations of the world or other people or the person that you think you want to be a companionship to. And that doesn't bring out your genuine self, which, if I think, as is a testament to you and to Debbie, that beauty and that wonderful person that's in your own self needs to be loved by you. It has to come forth. And I remember looking on these last few profiles, and one absolutely popped out. I think probably from the first picture to the next caption to the next caption to the next picture, I was seeing like a small version of her life. It was more, and I'd use the term, it intrigued me immensely. I thought, I have got to meet this person.
So, Mark, let me pause you. What was it about Debbie's profile? Because it's very important that women understand what makes this program unique and why it's such a game changer. What about that profile really touched you?
Without knowing all the details of how you've been able to help her become who she is and such as nature, I think what immediately attracted me is she's feminine. She was a feminine woman that certainly can have a successful career, be independent, have all the trappings of a successful life and everything along those lines. But if I, through my own growth, I should say, wanted to become more of that masculine man to represent that nice yin and yang of life, this was a woman that was at a minimum going to be a wonderful conversationalist, companion, friend. I'd certainly like more, and I'm glad I have.
But you could see that.
I could see that
came across in the profile.
Absolutely, and it's kind of amazing. Yeah, it just popped.
It popped. It was different. Somehow that profile stood out, and you said, "I have to meet this woman.
I have to meet this woman." That is exactly the words I had to use, and so I immediately texted and it didn't take her long. She was, again, I liked the nice response and stuff like that. So it meant that, she was equally interested. I think men as a gender probably deal more with rejection than most people might not believe so, but it's a general thing. And so when we think we're afraid of it, it's not so much that we're afraid. It's just, it's an awful feeling when you feel that consistently and over and over.
And Mark,
but nevertheless,
I want to pause you for a second. You are a really handsome man. And
you.
you're in your, you've done work on yourself, you're open, you're kind, you're accessible. And did you experience a lot of rejection?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say the rejection would be mostly to the fact that women, as much as men, can be emotionally unavailable. I can certainly have had the experience. And again, if I was the one trying to go after those relationships, it only masked and mirrored my emotionally unavailability too. So
Mhm.
I had to work on myself. I'm sure if I had seen her profile before I had gone through my own growth, I would have not recognized that gem. Would have not recognized it. So what you talk very much about the men that you want to attract. Immediately, not only did I say I was intrigued to meet this woman. I knew in a subtle, non-nagging, non-authoritative way that I needed to step my game up. I'm inspired to be with this woman.
Yeah.
She inspires me to do well for myself, well for us.
That's
And
great.
there is not a better feeling. There is not a better feeling. Relationships all have work, that's what it takes, and there's compromise and there's effort and stuff of that nature. But when you love the work, that's, you know,
It's not work.
it's not work at all. It's not at all.
Not
You
work.
kind of, not at all, not one bit. And
Mark, let me
it's,
ask you. So what I want to share with everybody is the irony of the fact that Debbie was in Florida looking for, looking to see if she wanted to relocate because she was retiring. You hadn't retired yet,
yes.
right?
No, I
But
was,
you were
yeah.
looking to see if you wanted to move to Florida, and you met Mark in Florida, right? And Mark
Online.
Online.
And why were you in Florida?
Go ahead.
No, he wasn't
I wasn't
physically
in
in Florida.
Florida.
No, I
You
met him
weren't?
online. No, he was back home in Indiana.
Oh, so you but you were communicating
Correct. We did FaceTime for 3 weeks and
while
got to
you
know
were in
each other.
Florida.
Yeah. He's like,
And
get
then-
home already.
So you FaceTimed while you were in Florida.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you came home, and then that's when you and Mark had your first date.
Yeah.
Well, I never told you this. I don't think I forgot. The first date, he actually canceled on me. We were supposed to go out on a Friday night, and it was about 3:30. I'm like, I hadn't heard from him. So I sent a gentle text, and he got called out to work.
And all I could say was, I'm thinking to myself, because, it happens on a rare occasion,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be this man that everybody talks about that, doesn't follow through or not have something. So I'm literally FaceTiming her from work going, I've already made arrangements for tomorrow night. We're going to the same date. I really hope that don't take this any other way. I really sincerely wanted to, do this. So that's the one and only hang up.
But the beauty of the situation was it was Friday. He had to work. And I was like, okay. Prior Debbie would have been, right, he's got another date. I'm not worthy. He's playing the field. It's, how dare he cut me? And my head did not go there. I just went, you know what? I've done this in the past on a Friday when I had to cancel dates because I got stuck at work late. So your program really helped me relax that anxiety and not jump the gun and not make assumptions, because I read all about that, don't assume. And when he surprised me with that video from work, he actually FaceTimed me and gave me that gift of, I'm so sad that I had to cancel, but it's like he's really trying to show me that he's not messing with me. This is the real deal.
She's never had to ask for that.
No.
She's never had to ask for that.
It was great. And we went out the next night. It was,
So tell me, when you first saw Debbie, Mark, what was your first impression?
Just life, just beaming, just exploding with energy. Something that I was just starting to learn for myself, and I really hope in my personal growth through our relationship that she gets to mirror that. Again, I love using that term. She inspires me. And
Oh,
that's exactly what it is. So I will do my very best for myself and for this relationship just because I just need to. It's not, it's a, it's a non-negotiable internally. Again,
mhm.
she doesn't have to, and women shouldn't have to at all. It's interesting. You can set boundaries, but I even told her, I said, I already kind of know what her boundaries are because I know how I would like to be treated, you
Mhm.
know, and that's really it. So if a man's emotionally available, if
Mhm.
he's at least understands what he wants, and he can then see it for himself, there's 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 the opportunity, and I'll admit this too. We were talking a lot over the phone. I knew she's down in Florida, and I could easily see where, attractive as she was, she's probably getting a lot of attention. But I again didn't feel like I got. I'm just showing my interest,
Yeah.
and if it happens, it'll happen. If it doesn't, it'll be a friendship, whatever it was, kind of a thing. But
But
um,
you knew right away when you saw her.
I
Yeah.
did, but I wasn't. But I've talked to a lot of folks, about relationships and our own expectations and such as nature. And somebody said you can definitely fight for a woman, but not over one.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it goes away to this. Debbie is beautiful and as inspiring as she could be to many other men, which I
Hmm.
see it all the time whenever we go out. And that's no problem. I go like, it's mine. But it's okay. And nevertheless, I knew she held herself with such esteem,
Yeah.
personal esteem, that if I was going to be in her inner circle, I had nothing to worry about. Not a thing.
Mhm.
Um, she had the same level of expectations. I just knew it, that we're going to be in it to win it. And
Well, he was so secure. That was the beauty of it. I mean, we talked for, my God, our date was
yeah,
forever. It
yeah,
lasted like 3 hours.
Uh-huh.
We couldn't stop talking to one another. And I just,
Aw.
and he was, very much the gentleman, opening doors and all those lovely manners, and just, took the lead. And it was very easy to be, the woman in his presence, because I knew. And he actually did reveal that he had done some work on himself. And I was like, yes. Not at all like I would have been in the past.
Right.
Truly, I would have thought, "Okay, psycho, not going there." But no, he talked to me in such a way that I knew that, he was all about personal growth and becoming a better person, just to constantly improve, and I couldn't see any room for improvement. But God bless him. He really is a guy that knows his soul and knows himself. And yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mark, can you talk a little bit more about how long you've been married before, correct?
yes. I was
Yeah.
married for 13 years, and
Mhm.
my picker was off too, but that was because I was off. I
Mhm.
know that now, and I can feel sad about it. I remember going through my therapy and going, what's wrong with me? I seem to be on paper all together,
Right.
career and life, and this and that, and you know a marriage that was on paper good, but there was absolutely, we were the wrong people for each other. Absolutely.
Mhm.
We only chose each other for our weaknesses that only didn't foster any natural growth. And
Wow.
it's a hard thing to, as Debbie said to me, even through your coaching and everything else, it can be a tough road, but the light at the end of the tunnel, I promise you, is worth it.
So
It
tell me
is so worth it.
about coming out of that. How
Mhm.
long were you divorced and before you met
About three and a
Debbie?
half years.
So
About
it's
three and
just
a half
been
years.
3.5 years for
Yes, just
you.
3.5 years. I think most men would say this, whether they've been through their own growth or not, would say that, oh, having been through that, am I ready to jump into a relationship or whatever it is? I certainly felt that. I knew even more for myself, my own personal happiness, that I needed to get some therapy and I needed to get some coaching, and I went ahead and did that pretty exclusively. I signed
Really?
off. Yeah. Oh, yes.
So you worked with a coach as well as a
I
therapist?
did. I did.
Tell me
I
about the
did.
coach. What was it, a life coach? What kind of coaching did you do?
It was. Um, It was primarily relationship related,
Mhm,
as it relates to not just like interpersonal relationships, I
mhm,
suppose, so it can certainly be personal relationships, business relationships, because the therapy was really teaching me the very fact of being a nice guy, not
mhm.
necessarily a kind guy, is not really effective in the long run for just every interpersonal relationship you can
Can
have.
you define the
Um,
difference for women between a
sure.
nice guy and a kind guy?
uh, just exclusively a nice guy is doing something almost passive aggressive. They have they believe not in themselves, but they believe in an outside image of themselves. So what they try to do then is project masks, whether it's a professional mask, a personal mask, whatever it is, that would indicate what they think the world wants from them, or what their woman wants from them, or their kids, or whatever it might be.
So it's like being a
Coworkers for the
people
most.
pleaser.
It's a people pleaser, but to a totally wrong degree, because ultimately you're self-deluding yourself, and you will delude other people. You will have behaviors that are divisive and certainly manipulative, even to that
Mhm.
degree, because
Because
you don't.
you're doing it to be nice and to get
Mhm.
something from a woman. And when you don't, then you start to get passive aggressive and
Absolutely.
angry and mean.
Absolutely.
And it's not nice. It
No, it's
really,
not.
because it all
It's
has an agenda wrapped around it.
It's an agenda wrapped around, exactly, and that's the unfortunate thing. So when it all comes down to, uh, it's emotional unavailability. I mean, I've
Mhm,
heard that term a lot. Men can be, women can be, so on and so forth, and for a variety of reasons, a variety of
mhm,
reasons. But I think your coaching with regards to how she's been able to identify that was like this, an
mhm.
instantaneous thing. So if I had met her before, I'm sure she would have said no, you seem like a
Yeah.
nice guy, but there's just not the substance.
Well, and it kind
Um,
of feels a little smarmy, like
yes,
that's the thing. It feels a
yes,
little smarmy, and women,
yes,
just like men can pick up on certain ways that women are manipulative,
sure.
I think women can pick up on that nice guy thing. In fact, we
Hmm.
talked when you were here
Hmm.
about the book No More Mr. Nice Guy,
I
which is a
love that book, and that was one
yeah.
of the books I actually read myself. There's
Mhm,
quite a few that are out there, and it absolutely points to, um, there are, gender differences. I mean, in the way we look at the dating world, men, and the way women look at the dating world, regardless
mhm.
of our age, there might be differences in our life patterns, and whether we're starting relationships to start a family, or in the case of us, that's we're now looking to really share a life, our own individual lives. So, regardless of our place in
Yay.
life, yes, regardless of our place in life, there are different views. And the crazy thing is that as smart as we are, we both were coming at earlier in life like, oh, I think she's looking at me the same way I would be looking at her. No, we have different needs, we have different wants, and I suppose you can't even begin to understand those. She couldn't begin to understand men without good coaching, until she understood herself. So I think a lot of what you can provide, is amazing, prefaces to move forward with, ability to find those men, but even more importantly, maybe to attract those men. Again, like I said, um, I at least was in a place to recognize quality, and I was like, I think I'm a I'm a kind guy. I'm a kind guy. I know that I have something to offer. I
Right,
don't know if this is something that she wants, and that's perfectly okay.
right.
A confident man is just going to go, I know what I have. And if this is something that she would like, then there will be a fit. And if not, that's perfectly okay. Two wonderful people, crossing paths in life is not a bad thing. It is a wonderful thing. And so I, I'm so glad for this, and everything that goes from it. But I think your coaching could offer women opportunities for more effective
Mhm.
interactions, if that's a better way of saying it. Doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to end up to, this is the one. It could be some wonderful relationships. It could be friendships. It could be networking. It could be maybe the next step to that person. Regardless, I think human beings are just, we're the last frontier, that
Well,
we
Mark,
see in the world,
I think what a lot of women don't realize is that there are kind men, good men, successful men who truly want partnerships, and
Mhm,
they're looking
mhm,
for women like Debbie.
mhm,
They
mhm,
and they know what they want, and they know when
mhm,
they see it,
mhm,
right? And like you said, she makes you want to be a better man.
mhm.
But that's also the thing. A lot of women are criticizing men and saying he's not this and they're not emotionally available and they're not that. And, the truth is a good woman is got, just like a good man can
Mhm,
elevate a woman, a good
mhm.
woman, man, a guy is going to want to show up at his best when he meets a Debbie Flanagan.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that she I, I've heard this used a lot of times, and I'm always not necessarily a person into some of the deeper philosophies and such. So when I hear the term manifestation, I kind of balk at that a little bit. But I consider it work. I consider her work that she's done for herself
Yeah.
has led her to be in a place that a person like myself who's done the work could recognize,
Hmm.
and then both of us could see that uniquely right away. I joke a little bit about the first time I pulled up to her house and everything else, and I got out of the Jeep and I saw her, and I started walking towards her. I was kind of hopping, skipping, maybe even, and I nearly ran into the fence. There's not a gate there,
Oh my
and I
goodness.
finally looked down, and there's a fence, and I'm like, oh dear goodness gracious, I look like a knucklehead, and I had to walk around to the fence line, and well, that was it. I kind of
Oh,
knew I was very attracted to her, but it had nothing to do just even with the looks, and certainly is there.
her
It's
energy.
just her energy
Yeah.
was a magnet, is an absolute
Yeah.
magnet. Um,
Debbie, can I ask you what you like? I know Mark is above and beyond anything. Like when you meet the guardian of your soul, it is like there aren't words for it. It is above and beyond, right? Like this is heaven on earth to wake up every day, to know that you've got your person, to feel safe and loved and cherished and adored by not just any man, but like this handsome, amazing,
Quality person
quality,
who
generous.
he is
Yeah.
kind to the core and smart as a whip. And we never lack for conversation. We always have things we're planning to do. What's next? I mean, we've been on how many vacations? I mean, we've been dating for 10, not even 10 months, and we've
mhm.
been on 4 different trips just because let's do this and let's do this and let's do this. We just love being around each other
How much
and
fun
sharing.
do the two of you have together?
It is
It's
exponential.
exponential. I
Yeah.
you know, there's I can remember being this is really the first fully healthy relationship that I've ever been in,
Yeah.
and recognizing
Ditto.
that, ditto. There were moments where I'm sitting there at the back of my head, the old Mark was going like, don't, are you falling in? What's going on here? Are you involving yourself so innately in her being, and I certainly don't want to be her all encompassing life. But what's interesting is that she's my best friend, and she's my partner, and I
10
do want to
months.
spend that time. I do want to spend that time with her. Our calendar is out for 9 months ahead.
Yeah.
We got
Oh,
stuff planned out 9 months already on the calendar. It's just we just anticipate the best. I mean, we're going with it.
Yeah.
well, and I think you're even talking out beyond 9 months from what I heard at dinner when the two of, I know
Absolutely.
there hasn't been made official, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot
Big
longer.
surprise. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a whole lot more time. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, about the age difference between the
Oh,
two of you.
Well,
how old are you? How old are you?
I just turned 56 and she's 66. And, that's, I will admit, if I was not emotionally available, I wouldn't know what to do or choose. I remember on her profile,
I lied.
she lied about her
You said
age.
I could, Lisa.
I did.
And,
Yes. As
and
long as you're honest on the first date. And what was the first?
very first thing that she said, she leaned over and she felt so bad because obviously we seem to have a connection. So she was a little worried, but she said it. She said it out loud, and I was like, "Not that's not an issue. I don't see that
Wow.
an issue at all." It, I don't, age certainly can be important, if you're looking to start a family or something along those lines. But like I said, for us, it doesn't matter. And she's got the vitality of 30-year-olds. I mean,
Aw.
I'm just keeping up with her. I have no problem with that at all. I'm just trying to hang on. No,
Aw.
it's I think when you work on yourself and you provide for yourself and you take care of yourself, then you really allow that special person to support that.
Right.
I'm not pulling her up. She's not pulling me up. We just on our own seek to be the best together.
And Debbie,
And
what about you? Talk about being, I know, I know a lot of women envy you being with Mark and being with such a handsome younger man, but a lot of women would also say, do you worry? I mean, Ashton Kutcher didn't stick around for Demi Moore, we all know how that story ended. And so talk about that a little bit.
What I know in my heart is that if it's going to work, it's going to work. And if for some reason, I can't even fathom that happening, that this man would not want to be with me anymore because of an age difference. And we've discussed it ad nauseum. So that's not going to be the reason if this would end. We both have a confidence and inner confidence with ourselves in that we've made it this far in life alone. And if this didn't work, we're going to continue. The sun will rise and we'll be okay. I don't want that or wish that. And so I think that's what we love and respect about each other. It's like neither one of us would crumble. God forbid the relationship broke up. But I don't think age is going to be the reason. That's not, I mean, I just don't, I don't feel as old as I am. I never did. And I've always dated younger men, although I did try to date up because I thought maybe that's what I was doing wrong, was I was with men that were too young. That didn't work either. Men my own age. I mean, there was
age does not define.
It's a number.
The character.
It is totally a number. I
it
mean,
doesn't define.
there's some men out there that I dated in their late 50s that you would have thought they were in their 70s because of their lifestyle and their choices.
Right.
And I'm a health nut. I'm a nurse from my background, so I've always respected and wanted to draw a man into my world that was as active as I was, that took care of their body. And so that was one of my must-haves, because I think that's a reflection on a person and their self-discipline. If they, physically can take care of themselves, that's huge. So I mean, we rode bikes for 19 miles all over Wisconsin. It doesn't even affect, that doesn't enter my head anymore. It really doesn't
bother you as a woman who is growing older and aging.
Yes.
It doesn't affect you person. I mean, I know I'm
there's
curious.
So many ways to avoid looking old.
And you're like, and I'm not beyond any of them.
Sign me up for anything, sister. I don't care. Yeah, but I have good genes. I was very blessed with good genes. My parents are going to be 90 this year, and they've been married 71 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they live in their same house. And Daddy just stopped golfing last year. So I know I have longevity. I'll probably outlive them.
And it's true. It may happen.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about this being in the kind of relationship you're in, because I don't know. Have you ever had a fight? Do you argue about things? Do you talk about that?
We really only had two things happen early on, but that was in the getting to know each other phase. You know what I mean? Like some things show up and you go, oh, I didn't know that about you. Let's talk about this, shall we? So, yeah.
it would be interactions, from our past experiences that would
Mhm.
rear its ugly head
Yeah.
into this.
Mhm.
And what was wonderful about it is we could take a moment and go, wait a minute, this is not my past, that I am not her past. And we recognize we care enough for each other, call it love or caring. And we said, we've just got to stop and find out where this is coming from. Um, we don't attack one another, we attack the issue.
Nice.
It just is
Yeah.
we can have bad days. I mean, each of us individually, and the other person is now able to pick up on that and say, I'm going to take extra care of this person today.
Instead
I'm
of
gonna just make
taking
her-
it personally and thinking, well,
Yeah.
what did I do? Is he mad
No.
at me? Why is he
No.
acting this way? Knowing that you can both have a bad day,
Right.
and it's not about either one of you.
And we
Yeah.
can trust our love or our caring that we can be
Mhm.
bluntly honest, even,
Ah.
and say,
It deepened our relationship. We had like a major breakthrough on a vacation because we were
Aw.
not seeing eye to eye on something, and it's like, where is this coming from? I don't understand. And can we just breathe? And
mm, go ahead.
I said, can I hug you? And
Aw.
that was you. That was really all of what I learned in the course was like, anger can present itself as really fear. It's the deep down fear. So if it comes out as anger, and I knew he wasn't angry with me. I didn't do anything wrong.
Mhm.
So there's that,
Yeah.
self-knowledge of, well, Warren Farrell helped me out with that when I read that book too,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
listened to it
Mhm.
on,
Mhm.
and so
Yeah.
I would have gotten a whole lot more Irish defensive had I not been through the court, seriously, and thrown daggers right back. It's, and take this, but that's not where we go. Mhm.
No.
And one
No.
last question. Mark, what would you tell women? What would you say to them other than do Lisa's course? Right?
Yes.
Other
Yes.
than do Lisa's, go to lisashield.com right
Mhm.
now and click the button to watch her 45-minute webinar and sign up for that course. What would
Mhm.
you want women to know?
I would.
Oh, the
I'd,
friend zone, remember?
oh my gosh.
Where are the good men?
Where are the good men? In your friend zone.
Whoa!
They're in your friend zone because a man who is willing to watch you go out with other men, knowing that it's cutting him deep because he wishes to truly and religiously want to be with you. If they cannot maybe look at that friend zone, and I'm not suggesting I'm not suggesting there's a lot of nice guys in there and they're doing nice guy things passive aggressively, hoping that they would
Right.
get. But there's a lot of good guys that are sitting in the background going, maybe she'll see me one day. Maybe she'll notice me. And it's not a bad start. And more importantly, work on yourself, develop yourself, do the courses with Lisa, do the courses that make you feel, and I say the word empowered doesn't necessarily mean aggressive or assertive. It's not a feminine energy. It's confidence.
Mhm.
It's a beauty and a confidence in your own beauty.
Nice.
There's not a man, regardless of their condition, on the face of this earth that's not going to be incredibly attracted to that. And the good men will do their best to try to stay close to it.
Nice.
She would have to beat them off with a stick. But
Aw. I can't thank you both enough. I mean, just being able to spend this time, and I'm sure everyone watching also feels your love and how real this is. I just want everyone to know this is not, two people who just met and are faking it. This is lifelong love here, folks.
Mhm.
And this is
Yeah.
what it looks like. And this is what it sounds like. Two people who are guardians of each other's souls. Aw.
Yeah, he's
And
amazing.
he is amazing. And it
Yeah.
has been a
As I
joy.
mentioned, and thank you so much for your hospitality on that.
Oh,
I love talking to you because it was wonderful to be able to share my experiences and what you've been able to provide for her. And I
Oh.
genuinely thank you then. I'm thanking you again.
thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful
Oh.
opportunity.
This is my greatest joy.
Good.
This is what I put at birth into the world, right? To see the two of you, you're like, my babies. You're the product of the work that I do in the world, and to see that I can pay it forward, right? That
Yes.
I have a love like yours, and I can,
Mhm.
help other people. This is something that's replicable. People
Mhm.
can do my course, and when I do
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
calls, I say to them, look, I'm not just going to show you how to find a guy or get the guy or, call in the one. I am going to show you how to find real love, lifelong love. That's what this course is about. I want to
And you
thank
have to be willing to find yourself and really
Yeah.
admit who you
Yeah.
are to yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
and what you're not going to settle for. And yeah, don't
Yeah.
settle, girls. Whatever you do not settle.
Yeah, this is
The
not
real
a
deal is out there. You
Yeah.
just have to really give it your all, and keep at it and have faith and know that you're worth it. Know your value as a woman,
Mhm.
and that shines.
Develop that.
And
Develop that.
that's what
Develop
attracts a
that.
man of value. He
Yeah.
saw that too immediately, that I value myself.
Oh, thank you both so much for being here. I just love and adore you, and this has been my greatest honor. I want to
Our
remind,
pleasure.
oh, thank you. I want to remind everybody, my name is Lisa Shield, and this is a special broadcast with Debbie and Marc. Debbie was one of my clients. She went through my 12-week emotionally naked dating program, and this is the result. This could be you too. My program is 12 weeks long. That's all I need to change your love life forever. So
Mhm.
if you're interested and you want to be a Debbie and find a Marc, please go to lisashield.com, click the button to watch my free 45-minute presentation. Stay to the end, because that's where you can book a call with me or a member of my team, and we will jump on a call with you and talk about how we can help you find the guardian of your soul. You can also rate and like my YouTube channel, and you can find my podcast wherever you get your podcasts. So please also rate and like my podcast, and tell everybody, and I mean everybody, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your mothers, your girlfriends, your male friends, your boyfriends. I do 2 weekly podcasts. One is called Lunch with Lisa, and then there is my favorite one of all, which is called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. And that's with my husband, Benjamin Shield. And it is extraordinary. People have said to me over and over again, Lisa, that podcast is unlike anything else out there in the relationship world. So please check it out. Come back and see us again. Debbie and Marc, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you very
No,
much.
thank
So
you,
much
Lisa.
love to you both.
Yeah.
Love you both.